Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with actor Joey Vieira from Dora, the Lost City of Gold, and he plays the iconic Wolf Man in Universal Studios' Fortnite collaboration, We Will Be Monsters. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, Elias. Thanks for having me.
All right, now I have a couple questions to ask. The first few are going to be specifically about Wolfman. My favorite film of all time is The Wolfman 1941, and you play the Wolfman in Will Be Monsters. Were you familiar with the films when you took on the role?
I was familiar with the film. I have to say I watched it probably about 100 years ago. I think it was 100 years ago when it came out. And it was, what was interesting is when that film, I feel like it was done so well, like where today it's still a great movie. And I was just having a little recap and watching it back during the whole process of the casting for this job, and just the extent they went to create a project back in the day. And I think they made it, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they filmed it in like less than 2 months, like the entire, which it's just bizarre to me with all the special effects and everything. And Lon was in, what was he in? I think it took him like 20 hours to put him into costume when he was the wolf. It was just fascinating. I mean, obviously doing a voiceover work is there's no prosthetics. It's just me, my voice, but just the extent they went to create, I guess the visual effect, unlike what they do today, which takes a lot, less time. But yeah, I've always been a fan of the Wolf Man, the wolf character. And I have to say, Wolf Man, the original, was brilliant, but the one that really got me, and I think it's just scared the bejeebers out of me for my whole life, was the American Werewolf in London. And I'm not sure if you're a fan of that
I
movie.
love that movie. Yeah. 1981's An American Werewolf in London. Yeah, it's amazing. Was that your favorite werewolf film, An American Werewolf in London?
I have to say yes, only because it's probably the only one out of all of them, because it was so realistic. And I have to say it's the way they did it was funny if you compare the two, like the way he was transforming into the wolf. That scared me. I think it scarred me for my life, the rest of my life. And I think that's why I like it. That's bizarre.
Yeah,
but that's
amazing.
Why I like that movie.
Special effects from
hand,
Rick Baker.
I remember the hand and the knuckles, right? Just stretching out the screen, his face just slowly transforming. I never really looked up into how they did that, but it was just,
they had puppets and stuff, and like they would have like a mask, and all they did was they would just put like their hand in the mask, and that's how the snout will come out.
Really?
It was like puppets, and then they would have masks, and or like they'll put their like hand inside like the puppet head mask, and they'll just like push the snout through. But yeah, it's done by Rick Baker, which is incredible. He also did the special effects for the Wolfman remake of 2010. Okay. So Rick Baker, he does amazing work. He also did like the makeup for Thriller and stuff like that. And the person who did the makeup for 1941's The Wolfman was Jack Pierce. And what I really liked about, have you ever seen Werewolf of London 1935? That's Universal's first werewolf film.
No, I did not see that one.
Well, what I noticed in your project, like when you were doing like the Wolfman, what I've noticed what was different about that version was that he was a mix of Werewolf of London 1935 and the Wolfman 1941 aesthetically. Like he had he didn't have like the black nose, the black snout that the Wolfman had. So he looked kind of similar to Werewolf of London. The Werewolf of London werewolf looked kind of like an Elvis type werewolf with just like the sideburns and like the fangs, but no beard. And I feel like your version, the way they designed your version of the character, looked like a combination of both Universal Studios properties, which was incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I had nothing to do with the design work on that, but I'll take full credit for it. What's interesting, Elias, is we as the actors doing the voiceover work. So we have to lay down these tracks before they can do all of the the visual effects, the mocap and everything.
You weren't in the suit, like the mocap, like you just did the vocals.
No, they had I'm not sure, they had one or two different I'm not sure, the mocap talent, I'm not sure what their background is. But they had them do all of the movements. They could have had an acrobatic sort of background, obviously from what you saw, they probably did. So they do all of that. They do all of that after we've laid down the voices. So, which I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but it takes like, it can take a few months to do, I don't know how long, was it 6 minutes? Took over a month to do in post. I mean, it takes a long time to do all the animation we see. It just takes a very long time because they're doing it. You're manipulating every frame for those types of things. And as the actor, obviously, like we either do the voiceover work or we do both the physical and the voice, and then we're done. An hour in the studio, we're done. Those guys spend hours a day to put together, those little projects that you see.
It looked amazing.
Yeah, I think that was 6. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was about 6 months of work there on their end to get that down. And when we finished, they pretty much, we didn't hear from them. You put down your voices and then you just sort of twiddle your thumbs and
just glad it got made and got out there.
Yeah. But no, man, I have to say it is nice. It is nice that they incorporate the old school with the new school, and they can sort of combine and recreate and capture a new audience, a new younger audience. Universal monsters are creatures that a lot of us, I guess the older generation, your parents and your parents' parents, we grew up with these. It's like, how do you get them back? How do you keep them alive? And I think doing this collaboration, Universal and Fortnite, I thought was a brilliant idea, because who's not on Fortnite? I don't know.
Yeah,
Show of hands.
I love all the Universal films, especially the Wolfman's my favorite franchise. I've seen them all. I have like the whole collection. I even have like the whole like 30 film collection of Universal films. But
Wow.
growing up, like I was born in the 90s. So growing up, I was like the only kid that liked black and white movies. And my older brothers would always like call me out for like, this is like, hey, did you know there's like movies in color now? Like, they would always like joke. They would always joke about me and stuff, because I loved like old classic horror films.
Wow.
And I actually got into Fortnite because they have a werewolf character that they released like on chapter 1, season 6. And that's actually what got me into Fortnite, because I just wanted that skin. And I do want to ask, did you study Lon Chaney Jr.'s version of the character to find his voice? I know you did like multiple different types of voices. Were any similar to like Lon Chaney Jr.?
No, not at all. The only thing that the only thing that I really worked on, which thank God during the voiceover work, or during the recording, was at the end of the day, and that was the howls. And I can say it was a combination of, it was a combination of, from memory, of the old school, but also probably a mixture of, I hate to say this, but it is what it is. Like, did you ever watch Scooby-Doo?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
I love watching Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and there was a handful of times where they had like some wolf characters in their series, and it was always those iconic like, sort of sounds that they had, and I didn't hold back, man. I went soft, but then I went big on it, because I'm voicing not just his character, I'm voicing also the rest of the werewolves in there, to give them a variety of sounds. But it was just about really fun.
So did you do like the growls and stuff like that? So you did like all this. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, they sounded great. I don't know if they like added some stuff with it, but it sounded very like bestial. So that is great that they did that.
It took everything I had to do all that.
You did amazing with the voice work. When watching that, my like biggest disappointment was that they didn't give you more lines. Like I wanted to see more of your character, because honestly, like when I heard your voice, sadly they only had that one line, like, you know what happens if I take this off? And
Yeah.
but I when just hearing that one line, you know, they say like there's no small parts, only small actors. When he said
Yeah.
that one line, I was like, oh, this guy actually sounds really good. Like he doesn't sound like Lon Chaney Jr., but you feel like the same emotions. Like
Yeah.
you look at like Lawrence Talbot from the Wolf Man, and you look at this version, and you think like, oh, they're going through the same stuff, you know. And I really like how you displayed that emotion with just that one line. Was there any lines that didn't make it into the project that you had?
Um, it's funny. I don't think so. I think everything we worked on, I think everything I did for that day was there, but we were led to believe that we would be doing more. We don't
Right,
know
but
when.
but you can't confirm. You can't confirm that.
I
Not
can't
getting you in
confirm.
trouble.
Yeah.
You
No,
can't confirm, or you,
yeah.
yeah.
As far as what we did then and there, that was about that was it. I'm just trying to think of, but and then we just didn't, you know, all of us. It's a God, it's funny because it's not funny. It's frustrating, you know, on our end because we want to, you know, we want to do as much as we want, as much as we can for the project, but we're not in charge. So we sort of just do as they ask, and you just get emails going, you know, available for this day. Great, they'll have you in the studio on this day at this time. Show up, and then they may or may not give you a script along with that email. They may just give it to you when you get to the studio. And that's sort of how a lot of these things work these days. And I guess it's because it can just go out into the, you know, to the media so quickly, and they kind of, I guess they want to have control of that. They want to have control of who knows and when they're going to know what they need to know. But as far as like the dialogue, yeah, that was about it for there. And then I had some other voices in there, which you may or may not know it was me, throughout the series. But you know, they were just, you know, who is it, come in, sort of things like that, and other little sounds and stuff. But no, look, I like you. I wish my character had a bit more of a voice in it, but I also understand when you get that many characters into a scene and there's that much animation happening, like I think it was probably a lot of pressure to get this done in a short amount of time for them. And the more of us they add, the more work on their end. Not that they don't want to do more of the work, but I think it's just probably more of a time thing. And I also think that possibly, who knows? I haven't heard anything just yet. You know, if this did get a lot of attention and people are writing in to Fortnite and saying, hey, we really like this, we really want it to, you know, we really want more. I think I'll be getting that email again to say, hey, can you show up to the studio? We've got some new scripts. Because I know even like my son is a massive fan of Fortnite and of those characters. And I had a bunch of kids, I had no idea when it was released. I had no idea it was even released. I had kids come up to me at school because I teach at a high school, and they say, hey, you're in Fortnite. I just saw you last night. I was like, what? Like, Wolf Man. I'm like, was that on Fortnite? Like, yeah, we watched it inside Fortnite. I was like, is that where they're releasing it? Awesome.
That is awesome.
That's how much they told us. They told us, you know, that it's just so secretive, which is, look, it's great. You know, I'm okay. I usually do a job and then I kind of forget about it. Do a job, move on, do a job, move on. But yeah, man, I want more Wolfman too. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I hope so. I told my little nephew that we were gonna get like a Wolfman skin that season, most likely, because it was released right before the current season of Fortnite.
Yeah.
And then when like it released, my little nephew, he's like, "Where is it? Like, where's the Wolfman skin? You said it was gonna be there." And I was like, "Hey, man, I just thought like it looked like it was gonna be there. Like I just."
Yeah.
But yeah, so my little nephew got disappointed.
Now, I don't know if my character skin was released or if it was just the
It was
Mummy and Frankenstein. Is that correct?
it was just from like Will Be Monsters. It was only the bride, and then from
Only
like
Brian.
from
Okay.
the original Universal monster films, Frankenstein's monster was released and the Mummy was released, but they were the original versions, not
Okay.
the Will Be Monsters version. So far, the only thing we got from Will Be Monsters is the bride, and so there's
Right.
still room. And I noticed like usually like when anything gets released, like especially when it's like a remake or like a reboot of something iconic, there's usually like some like controversy or like some stuff that fans don't like. And I noticed that like everyone loved the Wolf Man. Like
Yeah.
everyone had something to say about all the other characters. Like they wanted the bride's hair to be like up, like in the original Bride of Frankenstein film. But I'm like, you can see that it's like braided or braided. Like I'm pretty sure if it wasn't, it would go up. Like one of the things that they didn't like is they didn't like Frankenstein's monster because like the voice acting was great, but they didn't like the way the design was. They didn't like that he looked like a normal dude, or like I
Yeah.
don't, if you're familiar with memes, like he looked like a Chad, like Franken Chad or something. So he that's what I would call him. Like when I saw him, I'm like
Look, I have to agree. Like the drawings are the drawings, the visual of those two characters were not, I would say they're not like Wolfman in a way. Like you look and you go, that's Wolfman. Like he's very similar to all the previous wolf characters,
definitely.
drawings, designs, where Frankenstein and the mummy's, the bride, Mummy's Bride. What's it? Character name?
It's the Bride and Mummy, two different
Bride and
ones,
Mummy.
but yeah, both of them like
Right.
look completely different in the
They're
source,
they were very,
aesthetic wise.
very, very different. And look, I don't know why. I think Frankenstein was probably the biggest different style. Like it was
Oh
almost
yeah.
like it was he was a combination of, I don't know. He looked like an albino CrossFit,
Yeah. And
he was
he's
shredded.
supposed to be ugly. Like he's supposed to be ugly, and they give him like this like Marvel like makeover, and it's like
Yes.
that's not how he's supposed to look like. Like
You're
that's
right.
not, yeah.
It was a Marvel makeover. That's exactly what it was.
A lot of people were disappointed about that. So everyone's like disappointed. And then the mommy looks like a fashion model.
Yeah.
Personally, I like how the bride looks. A lot of people don't like the bride's like new hairstyle, but personally, I like the bride and I like the
Yeah.
Wolfman's look. The mummy, yeah, like they could have made her look a bit more scarier. And then Frankenstein's monster is just like, what were they thinking like with that design? But I did love all the voice acting and I did love it overall. I just wish that maybe in like future episodes, if they do future episodes, that they make the monster look like a monster because that's like kind of his thing.
Well, I don't, look, as you know, as we all know, there's a cliffhanger there at the end. I don't think they're going to change. I don't think they're going to change it. I think it's going to be, I think that is the look they're going for. And I think with the attention that it's gotten, that there will be, another series. Hopefully there will be, because they've sort of set us up for that. They sort of said, hey, we're going on a journey. We're going to take you guys with us. And then they stop and they go, oh, where are we going?
A lot of people are begging for it to just be its own game because there are a lot of Fortnite fans, but then there's also a lot of people that don't like Fortnite. And a lot of people are just saying like, hey, Universal, make this a video game. Yeah. And that would be amazing if it was just like its own game with graphics that great. Like honestly, I would play it. It'd be pretty cool. There are games like Marvel's Avengers where you could play as all the different Avenger characters. So if they get like that kind of like video game, but for Universal monsters, like that would be amazing.
That would be really cool.
Would you say this is like the peak of your career, or do you have like a time that you could go back?
Oh man, look, peak of my, I feel like I haven't actually peaked, but at the same time,
I mean, like so far, like is it the highest, or would you want to go back?
No, I think this year would probably be sort of the peak of my career. And that's because of the amount of projects coming out. So I've got, like, I did a bit role in Joe versus Carole. I'll be in Young Rock season 2 is coming out in a couple of weeks. After that, actually the next couple of weeks, I got another movie coming out called Black Site. Spiderhead's also coming out this year. Love and Bloom's also coming out this year that I'm in. And I'm also in a movie called, oh shoot, what's it called? It's about the girl who travels around the world on a boat. I'm blanking out. I probably did about 11 projects during COVID that are all sort of coming out this year. So I almost want to say like this is sort of probably like my peak because of how big some of these projects are, especially Spiderhead with Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller. And I got a pretty significant role in that. And I guess that'll probably be sort of my peak, but I can say like the start of all this was when I was in Dora. and the Lost City of Gold playing Diego's dad. That was sort of a great little leap into, I want to say, the bubble, this film bubble. And now I've been acting for years. I've never done this to be a star. I've never done this for the money. And dude, that's, it does happen. Like it's like winning the lottery. I think, being the next Chris Hemsworth, awesome. It is like winning the lottery. But for most of us, you work, you just want to work. You just want to work. Roles are roles. You may have one line, you may have 100 lines. Roles are roles.
I do gotta ask. In Fortnite, there's like always like new seasons. Like every 3 months, there's a new season, and each season in Fortnite has usually has like a unique theme. I was wondering, do you know if Universal Monsters is going to be the theme for next season?
Oh, I don't. I can be honest with you. I don't know what. I think it's best. You've got all these big studio heads that they're realizing that the film industry, as far as going to the cinemas, right, is dying. It's dying. It's hurting. So they've got to start sort of spreading out their branches and going, all right, what else can we dab into that's going to keep us alive? So I think it'd be best for Universal. I don't know what other, well, Marvel's doing it as well. I think it'd be best for all of them to start looking into these different platforms to get their projects out there, their product out there. So I'm assuming, this isn't the end of Universal. You're going to see a lot more from them, from all of them. I think they're all going to be, not begging, but, knocking on Fortnite's door to go, hey, let's do another project. Let's do another project. Let's do another project. It's gotten a great response. From everyone watching it, live, watching it in the game. I mean, I was like, when my son was telling me, how you're watching the show within the game, I was like, hold on, how are you doing this?
Did you do it? Like, did you like?
Cool. No, I saw it like probably like most old farts like myself. We watched it on YouTube. That's how we saw it, and. I didn't get a link or anything. I didn't even, again, like we were sort of the last to find out.
Just like out of the loop. It was great. Like basically they made an entire theater within the game because there's like different modes you could play in the game, and there's a lot of creator modes. So basically they created a specific mode, and it was like this spooky theater. And that's when they showed the first episode. And then when they showed like all the episodes, it was like another theater that they made, but that one I missed, but I did see it on like YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, they like made an entire theater, and your character could just be there and sit down or just like watch the screen. And it was really cool. It was really interesting.
That's so clever. I remember we were watching something at home, and my son, we got him the VR unit for Christmas, and we were watching our TV, and he was sitting down with his headset on, and he was watching a movie on Netflix within his VR. So he was sitting in the cinema in his VR, watching a show or something. I was like, okay, that is awesome.
Do you know if the Wolf Man, like your version of the Wolf Man, is going to be in Fortnite?
I don't. I want to say yes, but I don't. I personally don't know. I think with the amount of work they put into it, and if they continue to, if they do have this series, that another season out, I have a feeling that they'll continue to release these characters because why not? If you've put that much time, energy, and money into creating and designing these characters, and you've got a fan base, I don't see why they wouldn't give their customers these skins. So, and I also feel like if the audience is emailing, is messaging, is writing to Fortnite saying, hey, I want this new Wolfman character skin, I want it, that they'll make it happen.
Like here's all the Wolfman Universal films, so that's all of them that you can check out. Like if they are gonna make more episodes, you could always do like some research, and you can buy this. Like I bought it at like Walmart. I don't think they have a Walmart in Australia. Like I don't know what they have over there.
We can buy
but
everything's online too, so we can always.
yeah, I got this in Amazon. So it's the complete like Universal collection for like 20 bucks and stuff. You could buy that. And I mentioned Werewolf of London. This is how he looks like. So it's Werewolf of London 1935.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and then here's the Wolfman 1941. And so I feel like your version, like the way they designed your version of the Wolfman, was a combination of both of these, and both of these were
Yeah.
from Universal, and both were designed by Jack Pierce. I'm a huge nerd, so I have all this stuff.
I love that, man. I love
but
that.
yeah, so I do have like that's like Wolfman vintage mask. Anyways, this is Dyer. He does look kind of cartoonish, and this
Yeah.
was the first werewolf they had in Fortnite. Sometimes they get these characters from Fortnite and they put them in like comic books and they have them like fight each other. Like there's like a Batman comic books with Fortnite characters in them. So let's say if Universal Studios did like a comic book and they had your character, your version of the Wolfman meeting Dyer, which
Yeah.
one do you think would win in a fight?
Mine, of course. Yeah, like I actually, I work, I work out like 7 days a week. I'd kick his ass.
Hopefully, if they do like continue the series, hopefully they do put Dyer, because a lot of people would like really like to see like who would win, like the Wolfman or Dyer, like officially. But yeah, like we haven't really like seen Dyer in anything else other than just like the trailer for like season 6 chapter 1 that they had when he came out. So it would be interesting to see like those two lycanthrope characters like fight. So hopefully we do get to see that in a future episode if they do continue the Booby Monsters episodes, which I hope they do, because that cliffhanger,
That'd be
I
cool.
really do want to see more of it. Is there like a dream character? Like if you could play any character at all from any movie or TV series, like they end up remaking like your favorite role, like your favorite like character, like what character would you want to play?
Like Forrest Gump? No.
Like anything, like literally anything. Like
You know what?
if you could be in any
You know what it is?
project.
Yeah, you know what it is, man. Not just a specific character, but a specific type. And I can say, look, I'm a nice guy. I love playing bad guys, if that makes any sense. I love playing a badass. I love playing. Not that I love doing it. I just it's a stretch for me. It's challenging to play the asshole in the relationship, to play the vindictive, just that really bad person is a challenge for me. And I can say like it took a lot of training on my end mentally to get to that sort of point. And I love being able to go into that, grabbing it and using it. Playing the good guy, great, easy, fun, light, it's fun. But I love to be challenged. And I think that's so not a specific character, but just a specific type. And that's just playing that bad guy, the bad boy type is sort of my dream sort of or the type of characters I love to keep playing. It's funny when I was doing a bit of the research and seeing how the wolf type character, how it originated, where it originated from, and how it sort of came up at the same time that like witches did. And I'm like, hold on, people actually believe this? And yeah, they did. They actually believe that not only a woman turning into witches, but guys were able to turn other guys into werewolves. It was like, and then they were hung and tried and the whole 9 yards. I'm like, what? Were we that messed up back then?
Yeah, the werewolf of Bedburg, Peter Stump, like he was accused of being a werewolf, and he was literally like skinned alive to see if they had like fur underneath, and they burned him. And like
the late 1500s, is that what it was?
Yeah, around there. And then there was, I think it was like the 16 or 1700s, but yeah, the werewolf of Bedburg in Germany. And then there was in the 1700s, I believe, there was the beast of Gevaudan, which was this gigantic wolf-like creature that that attacked Gevaudan in France, and he was believed to have been a werewolf. But so it was an actual creature that existed. It was probably just like a large rabid canine, but he was believed to have been a werewolf. He was believed to have been impaled by a pike. by the maiden of Gevaudan, and he was believed to have been shot with a silver bullet. So yeah, the beast of Gevaudan,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
actual creature of lore. And like you hear that mentioned like in the Wolfman 2010, there's like a reference of it. In the new like werewolf film The Cursed, that just came out, also known as 8 by Silver or something like that. There's a mention of the Beast of Gevaudan too. So there's a lot of the lore. King Lycaon of Arcadia was turned into a wolf by the god Zeus for trying to trick Zeus into eating human flesh. So there's a lot like in the lore, even in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was written in cuneiform, the oldest written language. There's a small mention of the goddess Ishtar turning a shepherd into a wolf. So it's like as old as human civilization. Yeah, I've done a lot of like when I was in university, like I got my degree in mass communications. So thank you for this interview, by the way, because it goes with my degree. So yeah, like I would always do like werewolf like presentations and stuff like that, and it's actually cool to do interviews like this. And I thank you for doing this interview with me, because there's like a lot of opportunities that I could probably get for like more interviews and be able to talk about this kind of stuff more.
You're so welcome, man. It's great. It's great that there's people out there like you. Look, we know it's not real. We know but it's cool. It's different. It's weird. It's just
I like to see it as like a metaphor, an allegory for human nature. Like that, like primal urge. How humans are very violent and like can be very bloodthirsty or can get like really angry and like lose control. I feel like the werewolf is an allegory for that, and that's what makes it such an amazing like thing to act as, like to like play as a werewolf, to play like the innocent like good guy, but they can shapeshift into this like evil like being of lore. Like that's just a fantastic thing. Would you love to play a werewolf like in live action? Because I know you said that you like playing a good, like that you're usually used to playing a good guy, but you want to play like an evil type character, to kind of expand and challenge yourself. If you play a werewolf, you get to play both.
I would love to do that, man, in live action. And like you said too, like being able to show the kinder side. I think every villain, but there's a kind, real, just in a way, it's like figuring out what the trigger is. Like something's happened to them, but at the same time, like they're not abnormal. They're normal people, but that something happens to them. Like you're saying, like you have this is rage that comes out. There's a reason why. So this is human-like, creature or a person. You think about all these, realistically, like people who've gone out and like, Jeffrey Dahmer stuff, who've actually, they've done some horrible things. But you go, well, what led to that? Because they would come across as really nice, just kind people, normal, and then out of nowhere, this is a trigger that they just snap and they do just the most horrific things. And I feel like the snap is it's funny too. I just thought about Michael Jackson and Thriller, and I worked with the director Kenny Ortega on Gilmore Girls, and he was telling me about that because he was doing, I think he was directing Michael Jackson's tours. But just being able to snap into these characters that are nothing like you in a way. Does that make any sense? Like it's real, it's humanistic. Like we as both, I think, men and women, like we snap sometimes, and it's not us, but then we do some bad things. And I like to try and find that in the character and in a way, like not give it away too soon, like let the audience like me, so that I can just turn not just on, the other characters in the show, but I like to turn on the audience as well. But yeah, look, werewolves have haunted me for most of my life, and I'm glad I'm assuming they haunt you as well, or not?
No, like it's kind of like an envious thing. I was like, man, it'd be cool to shapeshift into a werewolf. That'd be awesome. So I guess like it's kind of like psychotic like that, but I'm not the only one. Like people think werewolves are cool.
When you're shapeshifting, you want to see an extreme change, and then I guess in a way, like that's me going, like being the badass, not being that, like being able to shift from one to the other. And I think that's what would be great about playing a werewolf live action character, is being able to tap onto both those sides, that really nice, positive, good. Hey, how are you? Nice guy. I'm a good guy during the daytime. And then I'm just this fucking evil killer, wolf terrorizing the neighborhood, type of villain at night that has no control, and it's like the Hulk's kind of like that, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I mean, maybe not killing. Maybe in some versions there have been like some versions in the comics, like the Old Man Logan versions of like the Hulk have been very brutal. So there is like some versions of him where he's like very brutal. But yeah, he's very similar to like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is very similar to werewolves.
Yep.
What voice did you do for The Simpsons? Because I couldn't find that on IMDb, the exact character.
I was the tablet in speaking Portuguese. They go to Brazil, and Marge is learning how to speak. So I'm her voice coach. I'm her language coach, and on the plane on her way to Brazil. So I tô falar português com ela no avião. Ela tem que aprender português, porque ela tem que falar com o seu esposo e a gente que estão lá em Brasil, estão a jogar o futebol.
Zoom tight. Like I don't even know Spanish, man. So Portuguese, it's like a whole other.
Yeah, they go to Homer goes to Brazil to ref the FIFA games.
Nice. And go ahead.
Oh, and then so Marge learns Portuguese. I teach her Portuguese. I also went to the studio to teach her Portuguese for that job, and then they gave me the role as the translator to play the tablet voice.
That is awesome. What was it like? Was it like a great opportunity? Because I know there was a quote in IMDb about you saying like how much you really enjoyed that.
I'm pinching myself, going, is this for real? Is this no? What? I mean, I'm at a table reading. I'm at a table reading with the whole cast. I'm like, this is. I'm at the Fox slot, I show up and they give me this massive like goodie box, and I open it up, and I got home and opened it up, but I was like, what's this? And they're like it's your what do they call it? It's a gift box basically from The Simpsons, but it was all full of like,
like the swag, goodie bag, stuff like that.
Yeah. I was like, what's this? They're like every cast member gets one of these. I was like,
that is so awesome.
I
grew up watching The Simpsons, so that's amazing that you actually did that. It's incredible.
So that was that was an amazing opportunity. This is a job. The job that I do is pretty flippin'. It's pretty cool. It's pretty surreal sometimes. I get, I was starstruck when on set. It's like, yeah.
Is it hard to keep your cool like when you're around like these like big celebrities and some people you actually idolize? Like, how do you like keep your cool? Like, do you ever like just let yourself geek out, or like how do you do
it? It varies. It varies on the actor. I do keep my cool. I do try and keep my cool.
What was like your biggest challenge, like as an actor, like for a specific role? Which role was the most challenging for you?
I can say most challenging would be, God, I did a commercial years ago where we had to wear, we were wearing, it was with Alice Cooper, and it was set in space, and we were all wearing like Star Wars character costumes. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen those. They're massive. They're pretty freaking cool costumes, but you're like tied into them and you can't breathe.
So it's like a stormtrooper type outfit?
No, dude, no, like those ones with like the long snouts and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I'm at a bar with him, and I'm a character. I'm at the bar with him, a character, and he's having a drink, whatever. I was traumatized in those things. I was having panic attacks. So if you've ever had to like put a mask on and then you could only breathe through like a straw, and then every time you inhaled, it was like your own air, like going right back in. It was. I had like oh, go ahead.
I've done that actually. I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
I have this like okay, so I have like this $600 mask. I have like two of them, and they're these
yeah.
silicone masks from Immortal Masks. And yeah, there's just like these huge werewolf masks. And there was this one. I was actually I was actually reviewing like this mask, and I was doing it as like a werewolf character, just because like why not? And I had put on this like huge silicone mask. It cost me $600, and I recorded myself like just like talking or looking like I was talking because I could just like just dub it later. And anyways, after like 15 minutes of recording, I lost breath. Like I couldn't breathe at all.
Yeah.
And silicone masks suck because you can't really like. I mean, they're great, they're amazing, they look realistic, but it's hard to take them off. You have to put your hands like in the masks,
Yes.
and then you have to like
Yes.
squeeze them up.
Well, that's what these were. These were like massive silicone like type of masks, and everything. It looks all real. It moves around stuff. Um, you, so the ones we were in, other people had to put them on and lock us in, and then we couldn't get them off.
Oh, it sucks. But I
So
mean, you got to work with
some of
Alice
us,
Cooper though.
some of us were passing out. Like it was that your heart's just racing, man. I'm sweating like crazy. I know I worked with Alice Cooper. He was just the nicest guy, honestly, like the nicest guy. But my focus was on him at all. I was just so scared to get back into that thing. And we shot for a week. I wanted to quit after the first day. It was traumatizing. It was really, really was. So that was probably, as far as acting goes, like I love challenges as an actor, but putting me in a situation where I'm not claustrophobic, but that's challenging. That is really challenging. But
One
yeah,
quick thing, is your character like, is his name Lawrence Talbot, or like do you know like his actual name?
no, do not know. They did not go forward with it. And I'm just trying to think of also some of the rewrites, and I don't recall them ever having so my character name was always Wolf Man. There was nothing else on there that I can think of.
What do you think
Gosling,
about Ryan Gosling being casted as the Wolf Man for the new remake?
I think Ryan Gosling I think is a great actor, and whether he plays a role or not, I'm happy either way. I did like I thought it was interesting that he approached them with his idea, his story for the character, which is interesting. And I think that's sort of where these studios are at. Like they want new, fresh ideas from all of us. And it was really cool. But I never really I could never envision him as a wolf man, if that makes any sense. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I almost think that if you're to bring that character back, that I almost want to go with someone younger.
Actually, I wanted Aiden Turner. I don't know if you're familiar. He's from like he was in like the Hobbit movies. He was also a vampire in Being Human UK. But yeah, Aiden Turner, he was the one that I actually really wanted to be the Wolfman live action. But
Yeah.
he hasn't, I don't think he's done like too much stuff recently. But I thought he would have been really good.
Yeah. I guess it's just going to depend on, time, money, availability, which is probably why it hasn't been made yet.
What's crazy is you got to come out as the Wolfman before Ryan Gosling. And he was like he was announced as the Wolfman like years ago, and like me and like all the other like werewolf fanatic horror nerds are really looking forward to it. And then boom, you come out as the Wolfman, and like no one even knew that you were like casted as the Wolfman, because like
Yeah.
Universal kept it like real secret, because they're like Fortnite's always like that. They always like to keep things secret and stuff like that.
They do. It's interesting. They keep it so secret that even the cast. So we were all pretty much, they would give us drips and drabs. You're signing these NDAs, and you're going, I'm signing an NDA, but for what? Like, what are we doing? What is this exactly? What's it for? They would do. We had no idea this was going to be on Fortnite. We had no idea, they're going to be doing, supposedly doing skins of all these. They just feed us information as much as they think we need to know. And then when it gets released, we go, oh, that's what we did it for.
That's amazing. did you know it was like, well, you knew it was Universal Studios, right? You just didn't know about like the Fortnite part.
We knew Universal Studios was attached, and we knew a Real Engine was part of it, because they do the mocap. I think they do the mocap with Real Engine. Is that correct? Something like that. But it was the producers is who got a hold of us, of the talent of the actors first, and they're the ones who were doing the mocap. But what's funny is it was because of the, zooming right now. But because of the way things are, in a way, they're taking advantage of the fact that you can have anyone and everyone, no matter where they are. So I was in Queensland, Australia. Another actor was in Sydney, Australia. The producers were in Sydney, Australia. Another actor was in Melbourne. The director was in Hollywood. So we were, all zoomed in, all the little screens of all of us, and all of us were in our little dark caves. Is what a voiceover room, sound room looks like and feels like. You're just in a dark, curtained, carpeted off, box. And we're in there, and we get to know each other really quickly, say hello, and then we have at it. But what's cool about it is that, when you're reading the scripts that because you pretty much, we didn't get like the real scripts until we showed up. So we're only getting test scripts, and so I had, like, you just had callback after callback after callback after callback, and they go, all right, make an adjustment here, make an adjustment there, all right, change, now go with this sort of dialect or this sort of accent. So they had us do a whole variety of things. Well, for me, had me do a variety of accents, and finally they were like, all right, you booked it. I was like, thanks.
Oh, that is great.
I was happy to keep going with, whatever accents they wanted. But then they wanted to go, from like an East Coast, Latino to West Coast. I started with West Coast, East Coast, and then a variety of just American. And then they went with just a standard American accent for the role. And it could be because they everything else was an accent, if that makes any sense.
Right, of course.
So they wanted, so I guess they, it's like, oh shit, we forgot to throw in the American accent.
Yeah, because the bride had like an African accent, and then everyone had like their own like unique accent. But Lawrence Talbot, like, even though his character like originally was like Irish, he had an American accent, and like he lived in America, like he left home, lived in America in the original, and he was played by Lon Chaney Jr. and then full on American accent. It was just so cool to find out that an Hispanic actor was playing the Wolf Man, my favorite character in official like Universal Studios. Like, the person that had reached the record for most times played as a werewolf is Paul Naschy from Spain, and he's never played like the Wolf Man officially. Like, he's just played a werewolf inspired by him, and now we actually have an Hispanic actor playing the Wolf Man. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. What's great is seeing more diversity too in the actual script.
But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's all right, man. Take care. Have a good night.
All right, take care. You too.